These challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
This bill seeks to exempt the personnel of the National Assembly Service from the contributory pension scheme.
Senate and House agree on bill exiting National Assembly staff from contributory pension scheme.
Democracy has come to stay in Nigeria.
And Senate President receives former Kenyan Prime Minister and harps on the entrenchment of democracy in Africa. This is Inside the Senate. I am Hussaina Amina Abuki. Welcome to the program. While the Senate is on the break, taken for campaign preparatory to the 2023 general elections this February, Inside the Senate will review some plenary proceedings and decisions reached by the upper chamber before the break. In this edition of the program, therefore, we have reports on some House of Representatives bills presented to the Senate for concurrence. And from the Senate President's office are reports of courtesy calls by the former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga and some elections observers from the European Union Parliament. We also have reports from a public hearing on the implementation of the Electoral Act, amongst other things. These and more in the program this week. Do stay tuned for the details after the break.
Senate to send a message to the President
to reap opportunities from that act.
Raise a matter of urgent public importance. And we are aware that when this particular motion comes up
For a longer term development, arise to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Thanks for being with us. The Senate, before its campaign break, considered several bills originating from the House of Representatives seeking concurrence. Amongst the bills is the Pension Reform Act 2014 Amendment Bill 2023, read first time on the floor of the House of Representatives on Tuesday the 13th of December 2022. The Senate leader, in a synopsis, spoke on what amendment the bill is seeking.
This bill seeks to exempt the personnel of the National Assembly Service from the contributory pension scheme and to establish the National Assembly Service Pension Board to be charged with the responsibility of administering the pension scheme for personnel of the service. This bill is in consequence of the exit of the service from the application of the contributory pension scheme under the Pension Reform Act 2014.
Next from the House is the Federal University of Health Sciences, Ila Orongun, Osun State Establishment Bill 2023, read first time on Tuesday the 17th of January 2023.
This bill seeks to establish the Federal University of Health Sciences, Ila Orongun, Osun State, as a training institution for development of medical and health sciences, and makes comprehensive provisions for the management and administration of the university.
Also emanating from the House is the Chartered Institute of Capital Market Registrars of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, read first time on Wednesday the 8th of January 2023.
This bill seeks to establish the Chartered Institute of Capital Market Registrars in order to ensure professionalism in the system and to provide for matters related herein.
The next bill was the Federal Medical Center Act Amendment Bill 2023, read first time on Tuesday the 20th of December 2022. The Senate leader also gave a synopsis.
This bill seeks to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act 2022 to establish Federal Medical Center Gumel.
Another bill for Senate concurrence is the Chartered Institute for Power Engineers of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023. It scaled first reading on Wednesday, the 21st of December 2022.
This bill seeks to establish the Chartered Institute of Power Engineers of Nigeria and charges it with the responsibility of determining the standard of knowledge and the skill to be attained by persons seeking to become chartered power engineers in Nigeria. It also seeks to establish the governing council of institute, which shall have the responsibility of managing the institute, its policy directions, and setting the standard of education and the competence required for its members.
The next is the Chartered Institute of Development Studies and Administration of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, read first time on Wednesday, the 18th of January 2023.
A bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Development Studies and Administration of Nigeria, charged with the responsibility to advancing the study, training, and determine the standard of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become registered members of the institute and for other related matters.
The last of the bills is the Federal Polytechnic Tombia Establishment Bill 2023, read first time on Tuesday, the 22nd of November 2022.
This bill seeks to establish a polytechnic in Tombia and to promote knowledge in courses of instruction, training, and research in sciences, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, STEM, which is a core course, a core axis of guiding students' inquiry and critical thinking in the new age.
In view of the fact that the bills are straightforward, non-controversial, and have gone through all legislative processes in the House of Representatives, they were accorded accelerated action, leading to their second reading and subsequent referral to the Committee of the Whole, where they were read for the third time and passed.
One part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay.
Let's now take a break for the notebook segment. When we return, Senate President's reaction to Supreme Court's ruling declaring him the authentic APC candidate for the election in Yobe North Senatorial District, alongside courtesy calls on the Senate President and public hearings. Don't go away.
The Legislative Chamber is a revered hall used by parliamentarians across the world to enact laws, deliberate on issues and problems of constituents with a view to profiling solutions. It is a stage where legislative deliberations and actions are taken by the representatives of the people to address the yearnings and aspirations of the citizenry. Legislators are protected from prosecution on account of remarks made in the chamber.
Welcome back. Senate President Ahmad Lawan has reiterated his commitment to providing the 9th Senate with the qualitative leadership desired to making it productive for the benefit of Nigerians. He made the commitment on Monday, the 6th of February 2023, while briefing the press on the ruling of the Supreme Court, recognizing him as the authentic candidate of the APC for Yobe North Senatorial District in the 2023 election coming up this February.
This 9th Senate has been a very productive Senate, and our colleagues have shown interest in what has been happening with this particular case. So I want to thank all my colleagues in the Senate for the support, for the love, for the partnership, and I want to recommit myself to ensuring that the leadership of the Senate will continue to lead very well. Will always be appreciative of our colleagues who have given us the mandate to lead the 9th Senate. Now we'll be looking at the 25th of February, when the presidential and National Assembly elections will take place.
Senator Ahmed Lawan added that even while the decision to approach the Supreme Court to seek redress over the rulings of lower courts which disqualified him from contesting was that of his party, constituents and associates, the ruling of the Supreme Court is victory for his party and Nigeria's democracy.
This victory is for all of us involved. I am the symbol, but the victory is for our party, the APC, and for democracy.
At the end, Senator Ahmed Lawan commended the Supreme Court and indeed the judiciary for making this kind of judgment that would further strengthen Nigeria's democracy. Earlier on Tuesday, the 31st of January 2023, Senator Ahmed Lawan hosted the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Mr. Raila Odinga, to a courtesy call to his office. Report on this visit as well as others is compiled and presented from our studio.
I felt it was an opportunity to meet you personally.
Senator Ahmed Lawal, in a welcome address, spoke on a number of issues, one of which is how to solve the challenges facing the African continent.
Challenges in Africa can only be solved by Africans themselves. So it's for us, Africans, especially those of us that are opportune and privileged to hold leadership positions, to continue to work for our continent, to achieve the kind of democracy that suits our people, our culture. It's not possible that what has been applied somewhere and succeeded, maybe in a European country, that if you bring it to an African country and take it, hook, line and sinker, it will solve your problem. It may never do so. So we have to be talking amongst ourselves in the African leadership.
Mr. Raila Odinga in his submission stated one of the purposes of his visit is to understudy the Nigerian parliamentary system with a view to using it to improve on that of Kenya, where, unlike in Nigeria, the leadership of the parliament is from the House of Representatives.
What we really wanted to know here is the relationship between the Senate here and the House of Representatives in Nigeria. Our Senate does not have, I think, as much power as here, because here you are the leader of the National Assembly, as we call it. In arrangement, the leader of the National Assembly, which is the chairman, in other words, what you call House of Representatives here, is the leader of Parliament in Kenya.
The Senate President also spoke on the coming 2023 general elections.
The 2023 general elections will be the 7th consecutive elections that will be holding. And this will be the longest time ever that Nigerian democracy will enjoy elections, changing of leadership. In fact, we even changed the government, a party that was in power for 16 years. And this is, for us, not only good for Nigeria, but indeed very good for Africa and indeed the world, because this to say democracy has come to stay in Nigeria.
At the end, it was resolved that the two personalities should work towards improving partnership amongst themselves for the benefit of the African continent.
The right to assembly, getting access to different venues.
Another caller on the Senate President same day was a delegation from the European Union election observers led by Mr. Barry Andrews, a member of the European Parliament. Again, the Senate President expressed delight at the visit, stating that the Nigerian legislature has invested so much in INEC to enable it perform well in the coming elections.
We want INEC to perform very, very well. We want the elections 2023 to be very credible, very transparent, and with the introduction of additional technology to give us, we believe that we can achieve that kind of feat. Elections can be well accepted nationally and even internationally, and that is why we're coming.
Mr. Andrew had earlier on stated the purpose of his visit has been to focus on upscaling media engagements to enhance their capacity in election reportage in the coming elections. in Nigeria.
We are meeting with them as well and are in making a coordinated effort. We are also monitoring selected media. We have a team of media monitors that are monitoring, observing some 14 radio, television and print newspapers. And for this mission as a novelty, we also have an analyst for social media. And they, with 5 national staff, are they monitoring the social media in this campaign. And as we are all aware, social media can play an important role in elections these days.
At the end, it was resolved to deepen collaboration between the nation's legislature and the European Parliament, amongst other things.
Now to the committee room, where on Wednesday, the 8th of February 2023, the Joint Senate and House of Representatives Committee on INEC hosted stakeholders and the general public to a public hearing on the extent of implementation of the Electoral Act 2022 ahead of the conduct of the 2023 general elections. Let's take the report alongside others as compiled and presented from our studio.
The Electoral Act
Senate President Ahmed Lawan, who was represented by the Deputy Leader of the Senate, Senator Ajayi Barofes, gave the welcome address.
The Electoral Act of 2022 was passed after painstaking efforts by the legislature in consultation with relevant stakeholders in the bid to grow our democracy by ensuring a fair and credible process where integrity will also remain paramount. While there might have been challenges, we have never undermined our responsibilities as legislators in considering the strengths and weaknesses of any regulation, particularly the Electoral Act.
On his part, the committee chairman commended INEC for their level of preparation while expressing dismay at the attack on INEC facility in some parts of the country. He assured that despite that, elections will hold in the affected areas following assurances from security agencies.
Let me see this opportunity to appreciate the efforts of INEC. So far, efforts that have shown that you are conscious of the enormous risk task ahead of you and the expectations of Nigerians as it relates to the coming election. The committee has noted with dismay on attacks on INEC facilities across the country. But we are hopeful that with the collaboration between INEC and the security agencies, election will be held in the areas concerned.
In progress, and I believe at the end of the day,
his counterpart in the House of Representatives, Representative Aisha Tuduku, was represented by her vice chairman.
It's just for us to hear what INEC have done so far on the implementation of the Electoral Act, which is a document from the National Assembly, which the whole Nigeria and the entire member of the National Assembly and the electorate, the relevant stakeholders have been part and parcel of before it's been passed into law. It's all what we need to run our national electoral process.
With this, the ball was set rolling for stakeholders' contribution.
I really want to commend the National Assembly for the passage of the Electoral Act. You know, it's taken a lot of hard work, but I did want to highlight a few of the worries that are on our mind. We need the judiciary to stand up, to be independent, and there's quite often a lot of pressure on the judiciary. Secondly, the security, and I think there's been huge progress in independence of the various security bodies, but we really need the IGP to step out now very publicly to declare that independence. So that's something we'll be watching very closely.
INEC is highly committed, and I think they should be commended for that fierce commitment to the implementation of this piece of legislation. The Act, like we all know, is having its maiden outing as far as the conduct of elections in this country is concerned. And definitely, there will be some teething problems. Today, as we stand here, we have over 600 cases emanating from the implementation of this Electoral Act. It shouldn't be so.
It's important here today that we have this committee get an assurance from INEC that elections, particularly the presidential election, we hold on February 25th of this year, 2023. The Electoral Act has some lacunae that has been exploited by the judiciary. Courts are still giving conflicting judgments regarding candidates in this election. Electoral Act that also empowers INEC to become a major decision maker for parties is not a democratic Electoral Act. I also want to say that the Senate should look directly into how to curb INEC power to deregister parties.
We are all solidly behind INEC as it prepares to hold a very crucial general elections for Nigeria. There are still a lot of issues, there are still a lot of questions, but civil society is strongly in support of INEC as it prepares to hold the elections.
The chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, was represented by a senior officer from INEC.
The 2023 general election will proceed as planned. There is no plan whatsoever to postpone the election. Towards the 2023 general election, the Commission has been joined in over 1,000 pre-election cases as at Friday, 6 January 2023, involving inter-party elections and nominations of candidates by political parties. Having concluded 12 out of the 14 activities in the timetable and schedule of activities for the general election, the Commission is fully committed to the successful conduct of free, fair, and credible elections.
After several other contributions, the hearing ended with the committee promising to compile its finding in a report for presentation to Senate plenary.
And with that, we move on to our last segment of the program. Do stand by for our Senator of the Week.
Senator Ifeanyi Ubah represents Anambra South Senatorial District under the YPP and was born on the 3rd of September 1971. After elementary and secondary schools in his area, he went into business apprenticeship, during which he learned the art and sciences of businesses. He also attended business and management courses in Harvard University, Massachusetts, USA. Thereafter, he went into businesses and grew to be well grounded in investment, oil and gas, tires alongside vehicle spare parts, and extended as far as the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, South Africa, Dubai and Belgium, among others. Senator Ifeanyi Ubah is also the publisher of the Authority newspaper, a daily paper distributed by the Authority Media Limited. A sports enthusiast, Senator Ifeanyi Ubah is also the proprietor of Ifeanyi Ubah Football Club, founded following his acquisition of Gabriel's Football Club. Senator Ifeanyi Ubah contested to the Senate in the 2019 general elections and won to represent Anambra South Senatorial District under the Young Progressive Party, YPP. In the Senate, he is a member of several committees. His legislative interests include oil and gas development, education, as well as youth empowerment.
This brings us to the end of the program this week. But before we go, remember to join the processes that would make the election successful, free, fair, and credible. Till we meet again, thanks for watching.